Hello there, and welcome to Ychyfus, the Kung Fu podcast, with me, Clive Davis, and special guest. Who's that over there, I wonder? Is it?
Well, hello, it's me, Elton Chong,
Ding,
in my
ding,
favourite
ding,
disguise.
Wah, wah. Ding, 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 ding. Wah, wah.
Aren't you happy to have me on the show? I've
Yes,
come disguised as a bush.
Wait until Darren finds out that Elton Chong has been on. He'll never believe it.
I heard he doesn't like me very much.
Is that right? Is that the scuttlebutt, Elton?
Only joking. It's me, Darren Jones.
Oh! You had me fooled.
I had you go in there, didn't I?
Did. I was starting to slowly put two and two together. Hang on, what's Elton Chong doing at Darren's house? But no, I was duped.
Well, Elton Chong obviously knows that I have a large collection of Kung Fu manuals in my house.
Right.
Which all of his films are about.
Yes, and of course you have a lot of kitchen utensils.
Yes.
Yeah. Right, yes, so it is Ychyfus time, isn't it? And it's not Elton, it's that other rascally gypster, Darren Jones. Hello, Darren.
Hello, Clive.
Yeah, so now that our sides have not split.
Well, maybe you should pause now. Just let people sew their sides up after that hilarious comedy sketch that we did there.
To be fair, that wasn't the Elton Chong disguise I was expecting.
No.
No.
But that was my favourite of his disguises that I saw in all of the films that we watched.
Yeah. I mean, it's stretching the definition of disguise. I think it's just being behind a bush, isn't it? But still.
Well, no, he wasn't behind the bush. He had a whole frame,
right,
that he was carrying around, which was also a bush.
You know, times have changed when Darren is defending Elton Chong. Yes.
Well, I'm going to defend Elton Chong a little bit.
Good. I'm all for that.
Yeah. But why don't you set it up, because it's your show.
Well, anyway, as well, it's a bit of a mea culpa, because I have written some horrible things about Elton Chong in the past. I was looking back at some of my reviews of Elton Chong films, and I have said horrible things like, the Elton Chong fan is a breed that should be exterminated, and stuff like that.
Did you put that in your book?
I did. It's in one of the reviews or something. Yeah, slightly unfair in retrospect, but this is why we do updates and stuff like that, isn't it? Reprints.
Yeah.
So Elton Chong, or Jong Jin-hwa, right? I guess is his real name. A Korean fella. Who I mean, it's interesting. I was trying to figure out, I still didn't really get a handle on it. So Elton Chong's films, for us at least, we largely know via their IFD or Filmac incarnations, right?
Yeah.
Where Thomas Tang has got these South Korean films, had them dubbed into English, put on a bunch of fake credits, and put them out in the world as if they're, from Hong Kong, I suppose.
Yeah.
Disguising their South Korean origins. And I think back in the day when we would have first seen an Elton Chong film, we would have probably been pretty much fooled as well. I don't think we knew that they were South Korean in origin, did we?
No, I didn't clock that. I clocked, I saw, it was one of the, I always had that association, back in the day, IFD, Filmark, Godfrey Ho, Thomas Tang, shit. You know,
Right.
but you know, they're always, you know, they were always a pound in hyper value.
Yes.
You know, on VHS. You know, where all the other DVDs in Woolworths were £9. And you know, they're very much that association that, you know, any productions that they mounted, IFD mounted, were generally done on the cheap with recycled footage, and they didn't take a lot of care over the filmmaking, and they did it for maximum profit, so there's no budget.
Also, a little bit confusing nowadays is so pre IFD is ASO Asia, right? And they would have put out a whole bunch of Korean films disguised as other, and then some of them more than once, and then packaged into series like the Dragoneer series, which is like 11 and stuff like that. And so I'm never quite sure if so the four we're talking about, I think they're actually pretty evenly split. I think 2 of them came out from IFD, and then the other 2 from Filmark. But I don't know if they would have first, if ASO Asia put them out. But what we're seeing them with the Filmark and IFD logos on. But I don't know if they first did the rounds as ASO Asia, and then were rebranded, or what that even means. Like, it's because it's quite tricky to kind of separate exactly who IFD and Filmark were anyway.
Yeah. Right. But also, I mean, we have to avoid being all highfalutin and coming out in defense of the Korean filmmakers as well, because we're basically, you know, the IFD releases are basically cash-ins on cash-ins.
Yes.
Because all Korea's doing is trying to exactly replicate for no money the stuff that Jackie Chan was doing, in particular with Elton Chong.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
So, you know, so it's cynical even if you rip the IFD and the ASO Asia and the Filmark out of it, even if you take all the fake credits away, Godfrey Ho and Thomas Tang, it's still a cynical cash-in.
Yes, we're all in the wrong. It's a grey zone, isn't it? But it's interesting to me just to I have over the years, for whatever strange nerdy reason, found a bit of delight in kind of picking out specifically what are South Korean kind of films and placing them in their own kind of little treasure. And it's impossible to do entirely because there was so much crossover, right? And you would have had, I suppose, a good example would be Casanova Wong, right? A Korean star, but obviously in Korean things, in Hong Kong things, in you know, he got about, and these aren't so tricky, but some productions are a lot more difficult to kind of figure out exactly what they are, right? There's a whole bunch of things which seem to be, they have like Hong Kong talent in them, but they were actually Taiwanese productions, but then they went and shot in Korea. Like, those things are quite a weird tangle to figure out.
I mean, on that topic, actually, talking about Elton Chong, because this is an Elton Chong quadruple.
Yes. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I can. I had to watch 4 films every day this week. Well, I had to watch a film a day for the last 4 days.
You've been in Elton world.
I've got Chong poisoning. Been contaminated with.
Hence you turn in a pine behind a bush.
Exactly.
Yes.
I wouldn't do that normally.
No. You're well known for being a sensible chap.
Yeah. Never done a Jimmy Savile impression.
No.
On the podcast ever.
No.
None of that. No off-color humor. I'm the I'm the dignified one.
You're the straight man, yeah.
Oh, I am, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway. But I didn't delve into this too much just because well, I wouldn't know where to start, quite frankly, and you're much more of a career expert than I am.
Which is to say, not much of an expert at all, but
yeah. But you look on HKMDB anyway, and the early credits for Elton Chong are Hong Kong productions, so things like Shaolin Plot. So when Wong Feng's over there, and other Hong Kong directors are over there, utilising the lovely temples and all that, and filming Hapkido and all the things that came from
what was that film?
Hapkido!
Ah, there we go. Yeah.
Geraldine's not home tonight, so I can shout.
You can shout Hapkido as much as you like.
That's it. See. Anyway, but what I found interesting is that it's kind of Elton Chong has kind of appeared in these Hong Kong productions filmed in Korea, and then, at least according to HKMDB, has then, possibly, used that as a springboard to go to the, Jackie Chan knockoffs in the early 80s. But what did you find out? Did you see it? Did you find any sort of Korean productions before he he was doing bits?
I suppose what I was trying to figure out was how much of it. So obviously we know him in this context, but I was just trying to figure out if these productions were somewhat more celebrated in their original form in South Korea where they were new, or if local audience just pretty much ignored them as well, and like how much of a star Elton Chong would have been on his home. Like he seems to have been around, well into the 80s, and he clearly did have a proper career, but I still haven't quite been able to figure out quite how big he was, right? Like if everyone knew who Elton Chong was, or obviously he would be called Elton Chong there, or or if he's still a fairly obscure figure, or I still can't quite get my hat on about
that. Because the internet doesn't give you a lot on Elton Chong in English anyway.
Well, that's the other reason I'm fascinated by, actually, not just these films, but these Korean films that were put out by Filmark and IFD and Asia, but also in general. I am kind of quite fascinated by any Korean cinema pre the new wave of the late 90s. Like, if I find myself, stumbling across Korean films of like the 80s, for example, it's really fascinating for me, just because it does seem to be a bit of a blind spot in terms of film criticism, right? Like, and again, I don't know if it's difficult. It's quite difficult to judge if the Koreans themselves were ignoring their own culture as well, not just that it wasn't getting exported. I get the feeling that even they weren't necessarily that big on their own stuff, right? And then
but it's not that different in Hong Kong or Taiwan, really, is it? If conversations you have and stuff you read is to be believed, is that these films, and particularly in this genre, in Kung Fu genre, they're disposable films.
It's true, they were not big on film preservation in general, right?
Yeah, but you see it, you like it or not like it, you move on to the next one. That's it.
Yeah, and there would have been so many of them knocking about, right? And then you only had to wait but a couple of weeks, and Elton Chong would be in another hilarious disguise, throwing woks and bowls about.
Yeah. Sometimes the same disguise on the same set.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing as well, is I was wondering, fucking how far apart were the productions for these 4 films we're going to talk about?
Well, I mean, two of them were filmed back to back. They had to have been.
Do you think?
Yes, definitely. So
I couldn't quite figure that out.
when we get to it, I'll tell you which ones they are. But
okay.
One of them was Fist of Golden Monkey, and I think the other one was Snake Strikes Back.
Oh, okay, all right.
Because they've got the same outdoor set with the spikes and the poles.
So did you go off and did you watch even more Elton Chong films than the 4 we've got?
Oh, fucking hell, don't tell me I watched the wrong fucking films.
Okay, this is an interesting... I'm going to tell you the 4 films we're supposed to be talking about, and then you let me know what you watched. So the films we're supposed to have watched are The Shaolin Drunk Monkey.
Oh, I've watched the wrong one.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. What? All right. So you didn't watch Shaolin Drunk Monkey?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did watch that?
Yeah, I didn't watch Offensive Shaolin Long Fist.
Okay. How about Magnificent Natural Fist?
Where the fuck did I get the what?
So what did you watch, Darren? Let's start with that.
Fucking hell! How have I done this? Right.
Dun, 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 dun.
How did I do this?
You have been possessed by Elton Chong, clearly.
I have. Right, I watched Shaolin Drunk Monkey.
Right, that's good.
I watched Invincible Obsessed Fighter.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I watched Snake Strikes Back.
Ah.
And I watched Fist of Golden Monkey.
Right.
But what I'm struggling to understand is where the fuck I got the idea to watch those films from.
Yes, it is a bit of a puzzle.
So what we'll do, maybe, what might be a good idea, let's just give our own impressions of the films we watched.
Well, I mean, obviously...
And then see if we can tie some themes together.
We can start off at least, because, well, this is the one thing I discovered, the interesting thing that I learned was, because being forced to watch them in close proximity was that, Invincible Obsessed Fighter is clearly the sequel or the follow-up to Shaolin Drunk Monkey, right? So we can talk about those two, and then we can talk about the other 4. So we're actually talking 6 Elton John films.
Well, at least I didn't watch 6.
Right. Well,
and I can't even use that two Ronnie. Is it not two Ronnies? Morecambe and Wise joke. I watched all of the right films, just not necessarily in the right order. I can't even use that excuse.
Right. Yes, we're going to have to feel our way through this one.
So we're going to have an Elton bonanza.
Right. Let's start with then. So, yes, the Shaolin Drunk Monkey.
Yes.
So from 1980. And well, I was going to say that all the films we should have watched are also directed by the same guy, right? Kim Jung-young.
Yeah.
I don't know about Snake Strikes Back and Fist of Golden Monkey because I haven't researched them because I didn't watch them. I think I have seen both of them. I've definitely seen Fist of Golden Monkey.
Yeah, I'd seen both of them before as well.
Right.
So I had double punishment. And although Snake Strikes Back does have very interesting features, which I would like to talk about.
Yeah, no, we'll get to it. But are they both also Kim Jong-young films? Or?
I'll have to, you know what? Because I was slightly pressed for time, I had to watch them on the run, and I didn't have extensive notes on them, so I only managed to write brief notes on my phone.
Does that mean you were watching them at some points when you were commuting?
Yes.
So there's a chance that someone leaned over.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt
what you were doing and just shook their head like, what the fuck is he?
He's watching Elton Chong. Why is that man disguised as a bush? Why has that man got grass as a moustache?
Both got red noses now.
Right. Right. Okay. So we're going to. Well, first of all, let's just talk about Shaolin Drunk Monkey.
Yeah, so Shaolin Drug Monkey, or Solimsa Jubangjang, which is how I was. So yeah, and Invincible Obsessed Fighter is no. Hang on, I'm getting confused now. Yeah, no, that's why you were doing the stupid face looking at me. It's not. It's not Invincible Obsessed Fighter is the sequel to Shaolin Drug Monkey. That's Magnificent Natural Fist.
Yeah, that'll be why I was looking funny at you.
Yeah, there we go. Yes, so Shaolin Drug Monkey. This is Elton Chong as a chef, basically, is the thing here, right? And he's really good at putting plates back.
Yes.
In a slightly acrobatic way. That seems to be his skill.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And it's nothing to do with Drunken Master or Snake and Eagle Shadow at all.
No, well, also the other thing I was wondering about these two films where he plays not so much this one, but the other one which you didn't see, so never mind. But of Cooks and Kung Fu, maybe?
That's true. Yeah.
Might that have been a minor hit and then
I mean more than anything, I see Snake and Eagle Shadow Drunken Master in this, with the whole you're a servant in the you're a lowly servant in the Kung Fu school. You're not allowed to learn Kung Fu. You have to kind of copy stuff as you go along, sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's funny when you try and remember. So they do slightly blend into one because they've mostly got the same cast as well, right?
Yeah.
But Shaolin Drug Monkey. So this is the one. Yeah. So he's a chef in the Shaolin Temple.
Yeah.
The Shaolin Temple head gets killed.
Yeah.
So the villain is Eagle Han, right?
Yeah.
Eagle Han as the Silver Eagle. Always good to see Eagle Han.
I like Eagle Han.
He's like just a notch below like a Huang Zhang Li or something, isn't he?
Yeah.
Very good kicker.
Excellent kicker. But he's just good at shapes all round, actually.
This is true, but I think he's one of the slightly, maybe because he was often in Elton Chong vehicles.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, he's slightly maybe been slightly disregarded, but Eagle Han is one of the great Kung Fu villains, I think.
Brilliant. Excellent villain.
Yeah, there's not much to it really. Elton Chong's character is befriended and trained by Mike Wong doing his Sam the Seed thing, right?
Yeah. Big red nose.
Big red nose and tough love.
Yeah.
Making Elton do in case of this one, it's the one with the wooden poles going up to the barrel of
the water tower thing. Yeah.
And there's like a pulley thing where they eat at the same time, and
yeah. Of all the films that I watched anyway,
right.
This had the best training scenes.
Yes, slightly
because it's good because there's a little bit of a contraption in there, isn't it?
Yeah, and as we've discussed before, contraption elevates, even if it's a slightly crap contraption.
Yeah.
Better than no contraption at all, isn't it?
It is, and this is a crap contraption because it doesn't really do a lot.
Yeah, no, and they don't. It's not tied. The best contraption in training scenes is where there's a direct line and you can see that what they're doing in training relates to the move that they pull later to win. But there's none of that here.
No.
And actually, that's kind of about it. And our other main character, the chick in this one is Kim Yong. Is that Kim? Yeah, Kim Yong.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's in most of them.
Well, maybe in most of the ones you watched.
She's in most of the ones I watched.
Yes, most of the ones I watched, it's Jinnu Ri.
Okay.
The chick in those.
Yeah.
Yes, and who else is in this one now?
Bruce Chung is in there. as the Shaolin Master.
You mean Bruce Chung Mong? I'm just saying that's his name.
I know. But you have to get it in there, didn't you?
That's the man's name.
Everyone.
Bruce Chung Mong. There's no way around.
In the IFD credits, he's Bruce Chung.
Anyway, Bruce Chung Mong. Yeah, and we got another. And so this is an interesting thing to me, because this is a learning process for me. Is because you do have, if you go by the Hong Kong movie database, or even the Korean movie database to a certain extent, these people have not that many credits, so you tend to maybe it's tempting to overlook them, right? But then when you're forced to watch a bunch of them in a small space of time, and you get to recognize a few faces, and you, oh well, actually these were, so I'm not exactly sure who's who and what their kind of status is within the industry or whatever, but some of the names are actually not Cook Jong Hwan, or I think he's the one. He's the portly chef in all.
Yeah.
Right. The other guy I identified as Jang Chol. He's like the cross-eyed. Version of To Siew Min or someone like that.
Yeah.
And then some Kun Sung Young is another name that came up a lot. Yu Seong, Lee Kyung Sun, Chil Sik, Lee Jai. And again, Lee Jai. Well, Lee Jai Yong jumped out at me because at first I thought, because I wasn't, he's got a bit part or something, and he's only in 5 or 6 things, or a dozen. But then Lee Jai Yong did have at least 2 starring vehicles. Fire Fist of the Incredible Dragon and Snake Fist of a Buddhist Dragon.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I haven't seen Fire Fist of the Incredible Dragon. I have seen Snake Fist of a Buddhist Dragon.
So he's someone to, obviously, is worth considering, because he got his own vehicles, right?
Yeah.
So it's
to be fair, in every one of these films, everyone's equipping themselves reasonably well.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing. Is I would say that in general the choreography is solid. I think would not be unfair to. It's solid.
The worst it is solid.
Yes, and sometimes it's very, very good indeed, especially when
you
Eagle Han or someone like that.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, isn't it? But it's in the middle of the stupidest fucking comedy and
Elton Chong is an annoying long streak of piss.
Right.
Except when he's fighting, when he's actually really good. Yeah.
It's like he goes out of his way, like he's goofy enough, and then he'll just do he'll go one step too far, and you're like, I don't like you. You're horrible.
I know. It's like, because at one point, this is going to be an Elton Chong impression now, right?
Oh, a man.
Right? So at one point, he's trying to... Because in most of these films, he's just trying to start a fight with someone when he doesn't know any fucking kung fu anyway, right?
Right.
That's most of the films that I watched anyway.
Yeah, he's a bit of a twat in all of them, isn't he?
Yeah. So he'll go, come on then. And then he'll go... And it's the...
it's like...
It tips it over the edge.
Yeah. In Japanese, we would say, kimachi warui. He's like... he makes your skin crawl, doesn't he? He actually makes your skin crawl.
Well, see... I hate to say it, and I particularly hate to say it to you, but...
You're going to say he reminds me of you?
No, but I did actually get a newfound appreciation of Elton Chong watching these films.
Oh, good for you. Yeah, I mean...
I know, but I didn't want a newfound appreciation of Elton Chong. I wanted to continue to be annoyed by him, which I also still am.
No, I do know what you mean. Me as well. If you kind of have the right context and you kind of understand what he's going for, then you can't deny that he's he's kind of good at what he does, right? It's just that what he
Yeah.
does is this.
Yeah.
I suppose you
And
could.
it's not. It's you know.
No, I was going to say you could argue it's along the same lines as, well, I'm not the big Jerry Lewis fan, but he does have his fans, clearly.
Yeah.
And if you like that kind of thing, then no one else does it as well. He's the genuine article, right?
Yeah. Except in this instance, it's Jackie Chan. So Elton Chong is
right.
the Korean Jackie Chan.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yes.
Except, and he's, Elton Chong, no one can take more punishment than Elton Chong, right? Elton Chong gets fucking battered. Yes. He's prepared to chuck himself off cliffs. He's prepared to get himself covered in dog shit. He's prepared to do it all, right? So he can do the stunts and he can do all the disgusting shit, and he mucks in.
Yeah.
But he's, you can't get away from what he is. He's an inferior Jackie Chan.
Well, what's interesting is when bad stuff like that happens to Jackie Chan, then when it comes around to the finale, you're rooting for him, right? In the Elton Chong, you're quite pleased. You're good. I'm glad he got his head kicked in. I'm glad he landed in a puddle of shit, because
actually, yes, because that's the thing. Actually, with a possible exception of Invincible Obsessed Fighter, Elton Chong is a knob, right? So he starts off as a complete twat who just starts fights willy-nilly, usually without the skill, so usually he gets the shit kicked out of him.
Right.
And then he gets good, and then he kicks the shit out of everyone else. But it's only his kung fu that got good. His motivation didn't get any better. You know what I mean?
Yes.
As a generalization.
No, I know what you mean. It's yeah, I think that might be the problem a little bit with these Elton John, like, because the other films have a slightly simpler through line in terms of, it starts off with victimhood, and then slowly they progress to the point where they can take vengeance. But in an Elton Chong film, it's the water. So at the beginning of, that someone's killed, it's either his wife or his master or something. But then straight away, he's acting. He doesn't act like. I suppose you could argue that he's so traumatized that's why he's acting like a twat. But basically, you don't get the sense of loss or anything, because he's fucking about and just a dick. So you forget that there is any motive, and then you're reminded, like near the end of the film, there'll be a little bit of a reminder. Oh yeah, his wife was killed or someone was killed. Forgot about that. He's still a twat. I don't care. But so you don't have that. They're odd films in that they're very, like, I understand comedy doesn't necessarily travel that well, right? That's kind of right. But still, even other films with really, really goofy comedy, and they still, because they keep that trajectory fairly clear, then you can kind of follow along. But these films are like almost perversely kind of go out of their way to. They're very strange narratively.
They are odd.
Weird. Yeah.
And there's what I liked about watching all of these films that I watched anyway, is there's usually one standout thing that's really weird.
Yes.
So in this one, my really weird thing, apart from the disguises, my really weird thing was the fire breather.
Oh, okay. That's not what I thought you were going to mention.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go on. What did you think I was going to mention? I'll do fire breather after.
Just because it's so, and these are all episodic anyway, so it's kind of a moot point. But there's levels of episodic, right? And there's one scene in this which absolutely, literally apropos of nothing. Elton Chong's like, I can't remember, he's going from point A to point B, like something's happened over here and he's got to go over there. But then in between, he comes across a man tearing a head off a chicken.
Yeah, that's the fire breather.
Oh, is he? Oh, yeah, sorry, yes.
Yeah,
that's right.
We're talking about the same scene.
Yeah, oh, sorry, yeah, I forgot, yeah, yes. And then, yeah, he catches, the fire breather catches a fire, right?
Yeah, and then rolls around on a bonfire.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
For real.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he rips the head off a chicken.
Drinks the blood.
Yeah. Elton Chong does something I can't even remember.
No, it's literally, it's just he walks past and he just says, "What the fuck are you doing?"
No, it's a fight. There's a fight between them.
No, I know, but the reason the fight starts is for literally no reason. It's Elton just, "What are you doing with the chicken?" or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I took him.
Hey, fuck you, or something, and they have a fight. It's like nothing.
No, I took him to be one of Eagle Hand's thugs, but I could be wrong.
Well,
it's not that clear.
To be fair, this is so. Shaolin Drunk Monkey is another is the thing with Shaolin Drunk. So, like we said, a bunch of these films basically they were just, you know, their original identity was stripped. They were given an English dub. Boom, right?
Yeah.
And most of them survived the process in terms of, well, sometimes the English dub obviously doesn't match with the original story, but occasionally, for whatever reason, it seems as if some of them have been fucked about with. And I think this is actually a good example of, because the story makes no sense at all. Like, even if you were watching it in the original language, I think with subtitles or something like that, there's clearly bits where characters shouldn't be in the scene that they're in, and scenes have been moved around, haven't they?
It's as if it's been cropped or moved around, or they've got rid of
odd. It's a really odd choice, and to your point, maybe that's why we don't know who this man is, and maybe if we were watching it in the correct version, maybe it makes sense. Maybe not, but
and these things have to exist. You know, I mean, these versions have to exist somewhere, because you'd think they'd have been on telly in the 80s,
right?
You know, and there would have been VHS DVD releases, possibly in Korea.
Yeah.
So, you know, it'd be an interesting avenue to look at them.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is finding them though, isn't it? That's the thing.
Oh, of course. Oh yeah, that's the age old, isn't it?
Yeah,
like, where are you going to find it?
Now, I think. Yeah. That's why the IFD film catalogue is so important in general, because they seem to have preserved in amber some things that are otherwise lost.
Yeah. But it has to be mentioned as well. And this is consistent throughout all the films I watched. It's crystal clear to me that whoever dubbed this film did not have the script. They just had the visuals. It does seem crystal clear to me,
like that. Yeah.
It's everyone.
Yeah,
for me.
Anyway. Eventually it's Chong, Wong and Kim Yong-ah versus Eagle Han.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good punch up.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Like that. But overall I would say this was maybe towards the lesser end of the ones I watched.
It's unremarkable. You know, it's kind of worth, you know, I'd kind of recommend it just for the chicken rolling around in the bonfire thing. But
right. Well,
you know, that's the highlight.
Better than this is what I think is the follow-up to it.
Yeah.
Which is Magnificent Natural Fist or Shaolin Fist Fight. So if you look Shaolin Drunk Monkey up on Korea Movie Database, the official English, well, I don't know if it's the official, the English title is the Shaolin Chief Cook. And then
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, because I didn't see Magnificent Natural Fist.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to the toilet while you introduce Magnificent Natural Fist.
All right. Well, actually, I have to go to the toilet as well. So.
Okay. Well, can you stitch this? Can you stitch this, or should we just? Or you can put like some We can put like an Elton Chong montage or something.
Yeah, and sounds of men pissing. That'll be lovely.
Yeah, that's it.
Like
that'd be great.
Beautiful waterfall.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Right.
Imagine fighting Eagle Han in front of a beautiful waterfall.
Yellow waterfall.
Of men's piss.
Here we go.
Oh, synchronized pissing. We're back at the same time.
So I'll just get this out the way quick because you didn't watch that. Just a minute. So I would say if you want to see a Shaolin chief cook Elton Chong film, this second one is better. So again, he's a chef with these skills, good at putting things back on the shelf. Mike Wong as a red-nosed Sam the Seed. All the same. This time, Jin Ri is the girl, not Kim Yong-hwa. And hang on, I'm trying to make sense of my notes here. What was the... Right. Oh, yes. Now, this is worth mentioning. So the reason this is worth mentioning is because so the main villain is in this one, and I suppose this is the guy who jumped out at me this time watching these films. Cho Jong-il. Now, I don't know if he turns up in the other two that what was the one you watched that you were supposed to watch? Did you watch Invincible Obsessed Fighter?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. So yeah, so he's the bad guy in that as well. Like he's the assassin who's called in.
Hang on. Let me familiarize myself. Oh yes, I've got you. Oh yes.
Yeah. So he jumped out at me as.
So hang on, he's the Taoist in Invincible Obsessed Fighter.
No. So the Taoist I think is well, when we get to that, we'll get to that. But
okay,
he's a villain in a few of these things, and I made note of him because he seems to have done choreography. So he did choreography for that film, which you can now find on YouTube with subtitles. Our Friends Power 5, which is that Korean Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles rip-off thing.
Now you're talking. Yes.
So apparently he did the action for that, and a few other things. So, but he's not Eagle Han, but he's a pretty good. But the reason I bring it up is so this one trundles along as usual. Yeah, Jackie Chan or of Cooks and Kung Fu rip-off, blah 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 blah, and then in the final face-off with Cho Jong-il suddenly has one really long extending arm.
Oh, bloody hell.
Like the Indian in
I thought I'd seen this film before. Obviously not for the podcast, but yeah, no, I don't remember that. No.
Yeah, so that's good. And then he also has just extra. He's got this, sneaky little hidden knife in his shoe. And then, spoilers, Elton Chong wins by grabbing, and it's clearly a fake rubber leg. and then twisting it over and stabbing him in the throat with his own.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's quite nasty.
Maybe I haven't seen Magnificent Natural Fist. I was sure I'd seen it.
Yeah, I confused it as well, actually, in the past with, I thought it was an AKA for Deadly Shaolin Long Fist.
Yeah, that could be it. Yeah.
But there you go. So I would go for Magnificent Natural Fist because it has that extra weird. But like you said, they all have a bit of weirdness. So yeah, you've got the chicken killer in the other one, the fire breathing.
Yeah.
So yeah, so those are the two that are connected, because I think Elton Chong's more or less playing the same character.
Okay.
Whether they're official sequel, I don't know. But one is definitely a follow-up, so I'm guessing it must have been a hit, right? Like the first Shaolin Drunk Monkey must have been enough of a hit that they decided, okay, we got to cash in on this.
Yeah.
So tell me a little something that I didn't watch then, Darren.
Go on then. Okay. So what shall I go with? So, because I've watched two films. No, hang on. I'm confused again now. So I watched Snake Strikes Back, which you haven't.
No, and A Fist of Golden Monkey, you said.
Oh, was it two? Was it both of them I watched when I shouldn't have done?
Yes. So I'm just looking at if I've seen Snake. You go.
I'd seen it before, but there was a particular element of it that I'd completely forgotten.
Okay, well, you go for it then. You talk.
Yeah. So
give me a rest.
Snake Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Eagle Han, Elton Chong, obviously, Mike Wong, and I think that's kind of the holy trinity.
Yes.
For your Elton Chong films.
Yeah, agreed. Although I do have a slight. I have developed a liking of this Cho Jong-il guy, but
for sure.
But he's not. He's not Eagle Han. No.
But I think no. But I think also that's the greatest proliferation of Elton Chong films.
Right.
As some combination of Mike Wong, Elton Chong, Eagle Han. I think that's.
Is it Elton Chong or that Elton Chong? Believe it or not, listeners, there's an Elton Chong alike, right?
We are not doing the Elton Chong alike episode on this show.
Oh, come on, then.
Oh,
Monday.
Go on then.
What I was going to say though is I can't remember if it's him or but Hwang Jang-lee is in either an Elton Chong or a Elton Chong alike film as well.
Yes, he is. And I looked it up on HKMDB, or I came across it on HKMDB, and I've completely forgotten which one it is.
Brilliant research. Yeah.
But then we're not talking about Hwang Jang-lee, we're talking about Elton Chong.
Right.
Yeah. So let me tell you some highlights
of Snake Strikes Back.
From Snake Strikes Back.
I was just having a look to see if I've seen it, and I may have. Yes, I have seen it. Okay, go ahead. This is this is also re-released as part of the Dragoneer series, right? This was Dragoneer 10: The Remarkable.
Yeah. So this is not the best. This is not the best of the films that I watched anyway. The 4 films that I watched.
Right. Choreography by Eagle Han as well.
Yeah, and actually, I have to say, not that good.
Okay.
Eagle Han when he's on point is very good. But this one I found in terms of choreography, pretty run of the mill. Actually, in fact, some of it's pretty lazy.
Okay.
Yeah. But what I do like about this, and I think there must have been some sort of, I think there was some sort of Star Wars thing intersecting with this. So I know your feelings on Star Wars, Clive, but so you've got the Elton Chong basically hooks up with, again, Mike Wong playing Sam Seed character.
Right.
Except Mike Wong's got this massive, like, beer belly. He's got this massive belly.
Yes, I'm remembering this now. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the usual sort of hard teaching, not great training scenes, nothing in particular. Lots of to and fro it, and lots of disguises. And this is the one where Elton Chong, which is why you didn't get the reference earlier on.
Yes.
This is where Elton Chong disguises himself as his own master with a loaf of bread under his jumper and some grass as a moustache.
Does hilarity ensue?
It does, yes. And because I'll tell you why.
I thought
because with his grass moustache and his loaf of bread under his jumper, everyone believes him that he is actually his master.
I can only imagine the guffaws in Darren's house.
Yes. So there's a fair old bit of sort of because there's a fair old bit of getting handsy with the ladies on this one as well, both Elton Chong and the bandits and the baddies. But yeah, where I was coming to on the Star Wars thing, so fairly early on, Mike Wong gets killed by Eagle Han, obviously. But throughout the kind of the sort of the sort of last third of the film, where Elton Chong's training and kind of taking down one by one all of Eagle Han's gang, he hears the voice of his master instructing him to do stuff.
Oh, I see.
Sort of a bit like Obi-Wan Kenobi instructing Luke Skywalker,
Right.
Yeah.
I'd still rather watch this again than a Star Wars film.
No, that would be fine. That would be fine.
And I just to confirm, it is the same director again. It's Kim Jong-un.
Yes.
Busy man at this time.
Yeah, and there's quite a good training scene in it. There's quite a few training scenes in this, actually, although they're kind of not very good, because there's this really weird training scene where Mike Wong puts on this special jacket which has got bits of chicken stuck to the back of it. Right. So like chicken portions, like the head of a chicken, and it's all cooked chicken. So like the head of a chicken and like a chicken breast and a chicken leg and a chicken thigh. And Elton Chong's got to jump over him and grab the bits of chicken off his back.
Yeah, that sounds
which is quite interesting.
Yes.
Yes. And it looks quite hot there as well. So I don't think the chicken was very fresh.
No. But like you said, Elton's a trooper, isn't he?
Elton will just do whatever he's instructed. And that's the joy of Elton, actually. If we're gonna come up with positives for Elton Chong will do anything you ask him to do.
Right.
So anyway, so one of the best line in this film, which links up to the sort of the weird bit of the film, as if the chicken portions wasn't weird enough. So one of the best bits of this film, and one of the best lines, is Mike Wong, when he's teaching Elton, says exactly this. All the spiritual... Hang on, I'm going to put the echo on.
Oh, here we go. He doesn't say bumhole, does he?
Huh?
He's not going to say bumhole, is he?
No, not bumhole. No, that's for Shore Scope.
That's only exclusive.
Oh, yes, that's exclusive to in Shore Scope.
Tune in to our other award-winning podcast.
Yes, right. Here we are. So the ghost of Mike Wong says, all spiritual force is stored in the stomach. Yes, you heard that right, listeners.
Right.
The stomach. And that's why he has the big belly.
The pot belly. Well,
exactly.
I feel better about myself now that I must be fucking hell. I must be super strong. I must be, Oh,
me too.
You're invincible, I would have thought.
Yeah, I'm practically. Yeah, I'm like that monk in Touch of Zen that bleeds gold.
Right.
I'm like that ascended. with my gut. Anyway, so there's this kind of weirdness that goes on, and there's lots of kind of belly kung fu. So like when before Mike Wong dies, there's like a lot of like, you know, and it's not even like, because when you watch a Hong Kong kung fu film and they're doing like belly kung fu,
right,
it's usually just like boing, you know, like that.
Yeah.
Whereas this belly kung fu is you have to jump over your enemy.
Yeah. And then
you boing them on the head with your belly.
Yes, it's coming back to me now. I do remember. Yeah. It's not a good film.
It's not a good film. No.
It's slightly memorably weird, isn't it?
And this is what I'm saying. And this is where I'm coming from.
Right.
But my favourite bit of this particular film, and as I said, the choreography is probably the worst that I'd seen among this bunch. So it's not great choreography. But yeah, two little bits towards the end is Elton Chong's getting pasted by Eagle Han. And all of a sudden, you know, he hears Mike Wong's voice in his head, or just comes to the realization that actually he can do the kung fu.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, his belly grows. And then he has the same big belly as Mike Wong's character did.
Right.
And then, and this is all spoilers, actually quite a good special effect, which is unusual for these films. Elton Chong does his leaping over Eagle Han and doing the belly, striking him with his belly. But at the end of this, he jumps over his opponent, does the belly thrust, or whatever you want to call it. And then there's a special effect where Eagle Han's head basically goes back like flip top.
Right.
Like, you know, obviously they've installed a rubber head and they've just basically boinged it right back.
Right.
You know, as if he's broken his neck, which was actually quite a well done effect. So yeah, so that's the interesting stuff out of Snake Strikes Back.
Well, I also noticed as well, it has the satisfyingly sounding original Korean title of Bogwon.
Yes. Oh, also, there's lots of the Carrie soundtrack throughout Snake Strikes
All right.
Back as well.
Okay. Right. Yeah, we should mention.
That's another.
Should mention as well. Actually, I forgot to mention. I think it was Magnificent Natural Fist. Someone on the production obviously had access to the Battlestar Galactica LP, soundtrack LP as well.
Brilliant.
Some of that. So it's actually quite infuriating to me. Is unfortunately we're both not good at general identifying it. And I know there's always ones that pass me by. Like I know they're from something.
Yeah.
It always annoys me that I can't identify them, because I would like to have a proper full listing of exactly which soundtracks were ripped off, and because you know then what they had at home on their shelf.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, and I'm the worst at it as well. But it is a joy when you get something, you know, a soundtrack that was on telly,
right,
in the 80s. You know, like the Superman soundtrack or Battlestar Galactica or whatever.
It also gives you an idea of at what point they were prepared into an English dub or.
Yeah. So also, actually, note on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Note on the soundtrack. Going back to Shaolin Drunk Monkey.
Yeah.
That had that same mystery. Dun 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 dun.
Oh,
the Meaning of Life one.
Mr. Creosote. Oh, okay. I didn't catch that, but okay.
Yeah, that had that in it as well.
I do. I wonder if that is a piece of library music or something.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
So just looking as well, Snake Strikes Back, if my notes are to be believed, it's a 1980 production as well. So
it's early.
Yeah, it's maybe the earliest of the ones we're talking about here, right? So let's do one more that we both watched, and then we can finish up with the two that the other ones haven't watched.
Actually, unless you've got any really, 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 really pressing reason, I'd rather finish with Invincible Obsessed Fighter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that.
Yeah,
So
can we do that instead?
like you saw, right?
I saw Invincible Obsessed
Right.
Fighter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the one I watched that you didn't was Offensive Shaolin Long Fist, aka Deadly Shaolin Long Fist, and again, Elton Chong, Mike Wong, and this time the bad guy is Choi Jung-il again. So this was the one I watched, which made me notice him. Bruce Chong the Mong is in it as well.
I knew you would.
And yeah, again, you know what to expect. With this one though, it's something to do with some kind of stolen official jade or something, and the bad guys actually in a few of these ones I watched that are kind of oddly mercantile bad guys, right? They're all like taking over local businesses and things like that, which is slightly unusual. You know, they're not necessarily from a rival school, or they're actually they're like cutthroat business people.
Yeah.
So and that's the case with this one as well. But the kind of the hook here, rather than a pot belly or throwing plates back on the shelf, is that Elton Chong's character is taught. So apparently it's Jangi or Jangi, which is a Korean form of chess.
Okay.
It seemed a little bit like the rules seemed a little bit like shogi in Japanese, where the pieces, if they cross to the other side of the board, you flip them over and they suddenly like have different attributes and stuff like that. It seemed a little bit like shogi. Anyway, so but thing is, it's one of those examples where he teaches him these chess moves, and every now and again he shouts, you know, out, and but I couldn't for the life of me see any of the chess in the fight scenes. Like, not even once. I couldn't. And it's odd because you wonder. I don't think they've made this up in the dub. I think it seems to me that it is supposed to be a connection, the chess and the training. But I can't believe that they would have steadfastly edited out any bits that connected them and made sense.
Yeah.
So clearly,
by the way, going back to Snake Strikes Back.
Yeah, I was just going to say. So just to finish the thought. So clearly, the it's at the source here. I think. Sometimes you can blame the dub or the re-edit or something, but I think in this case it's just at the source. Doesn't really make any sense. However, final fight with Choi Yong-il with Wong, Chong, and Jinuri, not bad, and they use flags, and I like seeing flags.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, I like a flag. Yeah.
Still don't quite know the benefit of a flag as opposed to a pole. I guess it's a bit difficult to see because it's blurry.
Yeah, same principle as the wibbly bit on the end of a spear, isn't it?
I think that's the technical term, yeah.
The wibbly bit.
Yeah. Sorry, so you were going to say there.
No, sorry, it was related to what you were saying. Yeah, also, sort of a permeating theme throughout all of these films that we're watching is the titles have fuck all to do with the plots in general. So, Fist of Golden Monkey, has the English titles, has nothing to do with monkey kung fu. Snake Strikes Back has got fuck all to do with snake kung fu. I don't know about Shaolin Long Fist, but yeah. But anyway, just as an aside, yeah.
Tell us about Fist of Golden Monkey, because Fist of Golden Monkey, again, 1980 maybe, is one I haven't seen in a very, very, very long time, and I need to rewatch because I've only got this unfair review from my actually this one's not too bad reading it back, but so is this Elton Chong, according to my notes here, learns crab style to defeat Eagle Han, is that right?
Yeah, and that's the weird bit. So the crab style is the weird bit, because I don't remember this at all. And I'd seen this before because the one thing I remember about this is the music.
Weird you should say. I was about to ask you because I've written here an insufferably catchy theme tune. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I've never heard it before, to my knowledge.
Right.
And I can't stop thinking that they've lifted it out of some porn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't know what the technology is going to be like when you put this up, but I don't know if there's an opportunity to bung some.
Let me make a note.
Fist of Golden Monkey.
See if I can.
See if you can. If you can't, you can't.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a theme tune to Fist of Golden Monkey anyway. So if anyone wants to hear it, and we can't put it up, just go on the Wu-Tang collection, Fist of Golden Monkey, and within 10 seconds you'd hear the music we're talking about. Yeah, so Fist of Golden Monkey is 1980. And it's pretty fucking standard for the most part, right? So I'll just get into my notes on my phone here. Yeah, and this is the one where I think, and it's strange actually, because you might expect this to come like right at the end of the sort of Elton Chong cycle. It's as if they kind of stopped trying. So it is literally just Elton Chong without any reason, because in some of the other films, you know, his rich father or his kung fu master father told him, you must go out and learn kung fu and challenge masters, so they beat you up and you work out how to beat them up.
Right. Or my mom says like, oh, he needs to learn humility or something if he's
exactly. Yeah. But he's just Elton Chong wandering around town having really really annoying kung fu masters. He's just going around being a twat to everyone, and also getting a bit rapey with the women.
Okay.
Towards the start.
Not the Elton.
Yeah, exactly. They're kind of trying to do something interesting here, because there's like this gang that Eagle Han is in charge of, and they've each got sort of special powers, you know, or they've each got special weapons. So you've got the girl with a whip, you've got Eagle Han doing his eagle kung fu, I assume. You've got a girl with like metal claws, you know, like a tiger's claw kind of thing. You've got two like big blokes. One of them's like a strong bloke. The other one's like a drunken boxing kind of dude. The other one is, because everyone's in like period haircuts, right? You know, apart from Elton Chong, obviously, who's got his Casanova Wong haircut that he has in all of these. Yeah, but everyone else has got.
No, I was going to say that Arahan film he made in the 80s, which was re-edited into Ninja of the Magnificence or whatever, skinhead. So anyway, if you want to see skinheaded Elton Chong,
I'll have to have a look. Yeah. Yeah, but there's one. So everyone else in this has got period clothes, you know, wearing kind of robe type clothing, and they've all got kind of top knots, or you know, something kind of period, around them. But there's this one bloke, and he's not noticeably from another culture. For example, he's not Japanese or anything. Who's just got like a modern haircut, you know, like a 1980 haircut that they've just kind of dyed grey. So anyway, yeah, this the kind of the standout for this one is the extended footage. So you know, in Snake and Eagle Shadow, the way that Jackie Chan works out how to beat Wang Zhang is he watches a cat have a fight with, is it a snake or an eagle? Something like, anyway. Sorry, I tell a lie. It's Snake and the Monkey Shadow, isn't it?
Right. Yes.
Where there's a fight between a monkey and an eagle, and that's the kind of the crux of how this new style is born, right? Or like Jackie, you know, watching the cat and then doing his stupid cat kung fu,
right,
on Wang Zhang at the end. This is Elton Chong watching a snake and a crab have a fight.
Right.
A real snake, a real crab. Right. And they are kind of going at it.
Yeah.
But I question, would a crab and a snake
are they natural
come across each other in their natural environment?
Yeah, it's a good question, isn't it? I suppose it's possible that the crab could be, scuttling along.
It could be a sea snake, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, or well, crabs do sometimes cross land, don't they? Like from one body of water to another.
Yeah.
And on the way, he'd be, the snake would be all like, Mr. Sideways, huh? and
Mr. Zigzag.
Yeah, so they'd have a fight, didn't they?
Well, yeah, and they do. So there's a good, there's a good 5-minute segment where a real crab, a real snake with very fake sounding special effects, sound effects, kill each other.
But I know what you mean, though. Whether they're old enemies, or if it was like the first time the crab was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
I just, because everyone's seen a spider and a wasp have a fight, right? Everyone's seen a mongoose and a snake have a fight, right? That's in your that's in your perception, isn't it? But crabs and snakes,
I know what you mean. It seems, but I suppose it does. I can see that might happen every now and again. But I know what you mean. It's not something you'd come across every day.
No. And this is one, actually. Fist of the Golden Monkey is one where I think that it was kind of pretty ruthlessly edited by Godfrey Horncourt. Because there's some weird shit in this that doesn't really make sense. Like, for example, at some point, because there's this gang, I think it's like the 8 Beasts or something they're called.
Right.
And they keep having all the baddies, all these gang members with their special abilities keep having meetings, and Eagle Hand keeps getting in shit, and at some point he's made to cut some of his fingers off.
Oh,
yeah, except it's not really graphic. And then by the time he fights Elton Chong at the end, he seems to still have his fingers.
Still,
but there's lots of kind of missing stuff in there,
right?
But yeah, I would say it's still, apart from those little things, and there's this strange subplot. So Elton Chong is going after the bandits, for reasons. Actually, no reason really. He's just going after the bandits for revenge. But he keeps kind of annoying and challenging this other kung fu master, who's not his teacher. He's just this other kung fu master wandering around, and they keep having kind of skirmishes, where he kicks the shit out of Elton Chong, and then Elton Chong manages to trip him up and push him in the water. And there's just like these sort of periodic skirmishes, comedy skirmishes between this unrelated kung fu master to any of the rest of the plot, and Elton Chong. And then at the end, Elton Chong makes him run away in fear. So yeah, it's again, it's a lesser one, but I do take a lot of joy in just listening to the soundtrack.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put that in, I think, at some point, even if it's
try if you can try and get it in. Yeah.
Well, obviously, I was keen on it back in the day as well, because I noted on it. So I'm looking forward to revisit the music of Fist of Golden Monkey. Right. So now here's a novelty. We both saw the same film, Invincible Obsessed Fighter, right?
Yes.
Or Murim Gyol Sikdosa, or Murim Beggar Warriors, apparently. Excuse me. Bob Fleming here.
Yeah.
I've moved on from country matters. I'm now hosting this. Now, did we both watch, because there are 2 versions of the Wu-Tang Collection. One slightly longer, I think, like by a minute or something. I don't know what.
Yeah, I think I went for the longer version.
Right, but not as good quality. And then there's a
there's one is like a Spanish subtitled one.
I think it was German.
Oh, okay.
But there's a wide. I think it was German. It's like 83 minutes. Oh, it might have been French. I thought it was German, but there's bits in it that are suddenly in French language.
Yes.
Right. Is that the one you watched as well?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so we both watched the same one. Quite nice.
Yeah.
Print.
It's really nice to see that, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I don't know what's missing, if anything, or if it's just a, frames per second, seek-cam, PAL difference. Maybe they're both exactly the same. I don't know. But I didn't have the chance to do the side-by-side comparison on this one. Again, Mike Wong, choreography, Jin Nuri again. Choi Jong-il is the assassin. So again, so the plot of this one seems to be, as far as I could tell, because they drop you in the middle of it, really. They don't really explain anything, but it seems to be there's a kind of lawless town, isn't there?
Yeah.
Again, there's a bunch of these like gangster type villains who are trying to impose arbitrary rules. Oh, you can't do business here unless you pay us for basically section racket.
Or you're not allowed to walk around the town without their permission and all that sort of stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
And Mike Wong is the main villain, right? If I'm not mistaken. But there's someone else in these films, and I still haven't discovered. I haven't quite figured. There's someone else who looks a lot like Mike Wong.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Hang on.
Because I think he plays in this one. Doesn't he turn up as a hunchback or disguised as? And for a while, I thought it was Mike Wong's character pretending to be a hunchback, but I don't think it was. It's another guy who looks a lot like Mike Wong, who often confuses me in these films.
Yeah. I'll tell you where I will find him, actually, because I'm pretty sure. Could he be? Hang on, I'll check. He's in the same film. He's not. Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah, carry on.
Anyway, so yes, and so there's a character refers to as the general, right? And I guess he's supposed to be the benevolent kind of who's been ousted or something, but he's the guy who's going to see things straight and so the bad guys want to get rid of. Well, first they kill his right hand man, Fat Ho, right?
Yeah.
And so that's basically it. And then the bad guys call in Choi Jong-il. He's the main bad guy, but also and his relation. I think he seems to be a bit of a mercenary character, right? There's this. What do they call him? He seems to be some kind of fucking exorcist or something. He wears
they call him an exorcist, I think.
Yellow cape, and he's in charge of the dead alive, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we never see.
No. And that's the thing, isn't it? Is that there's so many points in this one where you think, we're gonna get some ghosts. No.
Yeah. No. There's a few bits of him with an altar and
I know. Ringing a
noises
bell,
and shining
red lights. Yeah.
But there's nothing bursts out of a coffin, or it never pays off, right? It's like it wanks you right up to the end, and then it affects your coffin.
Although I think in the final confrontation between Elton Chong and the Taoist, the exorcist, I do think he's doing some sort of Jiangxi hopping vampire kung fu.
Maybe.
That's as far as I can get on it.
And I think he's played by Kim Yong-wan, I think, is that character, who's also was in the Elton Chong film, The Undertaker in Honhua Province, or Gravedigger, or again one of the Zodiac Master films. I think that's him, because he's got a funny little face. Best thing about him is is the scene where when he's doing his weird in front of an altar, Taoist wizard exorcism rubbish, is when he grabs a handful of live maggots and chews them, and really looks like he's not enjoying it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could tell that was like, right, I'm only doing one take of this, right?
Yeah.
You better get it. He doesn't look happy.
No. Yeah, and that is one take as well. That is all in camera.
Yeah. You better get this.
Yeah, because and they didn't even pay it off with any like laser beams or special powers or raising the dead or ghosts or anything.
I reckon they had a bet on. I reckon I can make him eat. Yeah. The thing is that like fried, crispy maggots or something like that. That's fine, but
I could do that.
Wriggling around on your tongue, still like
no. Well, and down your throat, probably.
Yeah, dangerous.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's the basic layout of.
Yeah. Also, the Taoist is defeated. Not that he's like the sub boss, isn't he? He's like the next down from the boss.
Right.
Yeah. So he has to be defeated. Yeah. So he's not the main villain.
No, that's Cho Jong-il. Yeah.
Yeah. He has, I think it's either 2 or 3 fights with Elton Chong, and every time he fights with Elton Chong, he gets frightened by thunder and lightning.
Now, so this interests me actually. Yeah. Was he just frightened by it, or is there something we're not getting? Because
it might be like a mythological religious.
Yeah, does Elton John have some sort of like deity looking after him, or he has a power? Yeah. Because he does eventually get hit by lightning as well, doesn't he? The Kim Yong-won character gets hit by lightning.
Yeah.
And Elton Chong seems like, I don't know, it just seems, again, in the dub, but whenever the thunder happens or whatever, he seems like, he's like, he says like, oh, thank you very much for that. And it seems like he has some sort of connection to the thunder, doesn't he?
Yeah. Who knows? I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this was my favourite of the bunch. I have to put that out there.
We watched slightly different ones. This wasn't of the ones I watched, but then again, it was also the last one of 4, so I was kind of getting a bit chonged out.
Oh, yeah. Well, Fist of Golden Monkey was the one I watched today.
Oh, okay.
And I was very chonged out by that point.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We should probably put a warning on this as well, actually. This should not be... We are professionals. Do not attempt.
Do not do this at home.
Do not watch 4 Elton Chong films back to back without, a doctor at least. You need someone
psychiatric supervision.
Yes. Yeah. We are professional stunt people. We get paid an awful lot of money to do these shows.
We do, and we've been training for many years.
Yeah. So just don't run in. Don't think anyone can do. I know we make it look. We look as if it's just a couple of blokes.
Oh, it looks like a breeze, But Chong poisoning kills 30,000 people a year.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
they should put warnings on the side.
They really should. Yeah, they put them on packs of fags, didn't they? More people die from Chong poisoning than from cigarettes every year.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, may contain Chong.
Yeah, you even got to be careful when you watch Shaolin Plot. It's a great film.
Because
really good film, but it does contain traces of Chong.
Yeah, it's like peanuts or something, right? For some people, that's too much. Yeah.
Be careful.
Almost like a subliminal. It can send people into anaphylactic shocks.
I like that. So anyway, what did you like or dislike to conclude Invincible Obsessed Fighter?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be. I think I'll do maybe a more general overview here because I may have to exit at the moment, any minute now as well. But I mean, I'm glad we did do this Other, at first it was just pure perversity, to do 4 Elton Chong films, but it was worth doing because as dangerous to your health as it is, I have to admit I could have pushed onwards. I was kind of getting a feel for the landscape, and I could have watched another 4 Elton Chong with breaks in between. But it's interesting. I do wonder if I'm either developing a really refined taste, or all my critical faculties are slowly being thrown out the window.
Or you may be just about to die.
Yeah, it could be that as well.
Might be a delirium.
Yes.
Just, sometimes when when you're in a like a very bad state with a terminal illness, the last day before you die, suddenly you have moments of clarity. You just have a day when you're switched on. Yeah. Maybe that's today.
It could be. I'll suddenly start smelling burnt toast and then have a stroke.
Yes. I mean, are we wrapping up?
I think so. Yeah.
So something, two things I would conclude with. Number one, I'm actually developing out of context, so out of the Chong context, right? So that this is good for Chong. I'm actually developing a real appreciation for Mike Wong.
Okay.
As choreographer and as a performer, actually.
No, he's solid, isn't he? He's like the tent pole that Elton Chong can fuck about.
Yeah, and I actually think he's a better choreographer than Eagle Han.
Yeah, maybe Eagle Han is a performer as opposed.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, coming back to what I was saying at the start of the podcast, is Elton Chong is a long streak of piss who's not funny. Right? We can agree that. However, the man can fucking move. And the man can take some punishment.
He's a proper physical performer.
Yeah.
I mean, not to stretch it too much, but I know he's considered the poor man's Jackie Chan or something like that. And overall, in terms of screen charisma and stuff like you'd have to say. But just in terms of pure, just like what he can do and what he can put up with. Yeah. And I mean, you could argue that it's difficult to tell because we haven't seen, the if it exists, we haven't seen the Elton Chong graduates to Project A or Police Story but you can kind of see that's not out. I mean, the thing is, Korea didn't quite have the film industry that Hong Kong did, right? But I can kind of imagine him getting rid of that stupid haircut, putting on a suit, and I can kind of see Elton pulling off like a Police Story or something like that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Amazing stunts.
Yeah. No, I'd totally agree with that. But I think that when you're talking about, if you include Korea with Hong Kong and Taiwan in martial arts cinema for now, if you include that in the remit of Kung Fu or Shapes fans or old school fans, however you want to determine it, I think you do have to put Elton Chong in the same conversation as not choreographers, not directors, but you have to put him with Jackie Chan, Yin Biao, Yin Hua, maybe not Wang Zhangli, but you have to put him in that bracket of performers that can absolutely do whatever they're asked of on screen, because some of these films have complicated moves, like I think it was actually Fist the Golden Monkey. There's this incredibly complicated kick where I think he's bouncing off a tree and then going to kick Eagle Han in this side of the head, but his leg goes that way, and then he kicks him in that side of the head. And it just seemed an incredibly complicated move to pull off. So I think that actually scratch Jackie and Samuel. I think actually we need to start talking about Elton Chong in the same conversation as we talk about, say, Casanova Wong.
Right.
So that, that's a super kicker. Elton Chong isn't a super kicker, but I think he's an incredibly versatile performer. That's actually worth watching just because of what he can actually pull off on screen.
Well, also it's a difficult, like, someone showing off their prowess and winning and being that's easy to identify, isn't it? But like you said, the thing that he's really good at, which is easy to overlook, is he's really good at getting beaten up. And and that's a thing. Not everyone can do that, right?
No.
So yeah,
and he didn't have a shopping centre, to jump off the bloody escalator and smash all the lights on the way down,
Well, that's the thing.
But he'd have done it.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm sure he would have. So that's the thing, I think, is it's judging him from, like, trying to separate the man, the performer, from his vehicles, I suppose. But I'd be quite happy. I mean, I suspect at some point I will probably end up making my way through the Elton Chong filmography.
Yeah, I'll probably pick it up. Yeah.
And then you never know. We might come across something at some point.
Yeah, let's do another double at some point.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I said a double.
Yeah. All right, no, I heard you. Well, the other one I mentioned to you off air before we started, which is interesting, is the one that I think became Ninja of the Magnificence, either over at IFD, I think, which is a film from 1986, I think, called Arahan, which is quite different from the goofy template. And that's kind of interesting. And it's slight, I suppose you could say that's Elton Chong's Armor of God, a little bit.
Okay.
So it's got a bit more kind of, it's got it's also action adventure and stuff as well.
Yeah, but also I think that, when he's not pretending to be a bush or a chef or whatever the fuck his disguises are, and he's doing silly pratfalls, then actually there are moments in the films that I watched when he's in his kind of vengeance mode.
Yeah.
And he's got his game face on, he's got a serious face on. Where actually I can kind of see a future in serious vehicles for him, which may even exist and we don't know about them.
Well, that's the thing. If memory serves as well, I think that he plays it pretty straight in Arahan, actually. I think he's so that's an interesting one to look at. I mean, even if we don't get it here, I would recommend checking out. I don't know if you can get it in its original form, but certainly I think it's Ninja of the Magnificence. That's about, and the majority of the film is in it, and it's got some impressive stunts and stuff. There's actually a channel on YouTube I've discovered as well. I don't know if it might be Elton himself or a mega fan, who seems to have put up like everything Elton Chong's ever done.
Okay.
It's all in Korean, but so yeah,
we'll have a look at that.
Even to the point I couldn't quite, because I haven't had a look at it. But it seems to be all Elton Chong films, but interspersed with like bits from Korean television, clips and stuff. So, but I don't know, are they clips of Elton Chong, like on?
That's worth a look.
Yeah,
that's worth a look.
Yeah, like on the not Wogan, because it would be Wogan or something like that, right?
Wogjun An.
Yeah, Wogjun An. Yeah.
But I mean, it's worth looking at, and obviously, a lot of the time when we do these podcasts, we have to plow through the films, and because we're watching the films, we're not always doing every bit of research that we can possibly do.
Right.
But it would be very interesting to see if that YouTube channel has anything, any Korean films, even raw films that we could delve into.
As far as I could tell, I mean, it seemed like it had everything on there. I mean,
yeah,
I was extra at least. So yeah, no, it's definitely worth. I'll send you.
Yeah,
I'll find it again in my. I did bookmark it, but once I find it, I'll send you the link. And
yeah. Well, why don't we? Because we have a new Facebook group that's just been created.
Oh yes, yes we do. I forgot about it. Yes.
Yeah. So what we're gonna be posting some links on there. It's in its infancy at the moment because we're waiting for a podcast to upload, and then we're gonna start promoting. But yeah, please do check out Ychyfus and In Short Scope Facebook group.
I'm just making it now to see if I can find that YouTube page, and I shall put the link over there. If
right. Yeah. We'll get there on that. So yeah, please do join our new Facebook group because there'll be lots of good stuff on there.
So I don't know about you, Darren, but I'm looking forward to a couple of days with no Elton Chong in them. I
am relishing being Chongless.
Right.
For a good long weekend, yes.
But we do now we've got the taste. We've got the taste. That's the thing. So
well, you say that.
We'll be dragged back in. That's
the taste you're talking about is the stuff that you put on children's fingernails to stop them biting their nails. So that's the taste that I've got of Elton Chong. Right. It's not going to stop me from biting my nails.
No.
Because I'm still going to be tasting it.
That's the thing, isn't it?
But it's still bad.
Plus it leads to that weird masochistic connection in your brain where you connect something very pleasurable with something very painful indeed, isn't it? So, and that's that's Elton Chong all over, isn't it?
Yeah. Maybe he is in that community.
Yeah. If you know,
interesting. If you know Elton from that community,
yes. If you paddled Elton Chong's ass or had your ass paddled by Elton Chong, let us know after asking permission. Obviously, you don't want to be outing someone who doesn't want to.
No.
But if you've eaten Elton Chong's shit off a silver platter, we want to know all about it.
Well, knowing Elton, it'd probably be plastic.
Right.
Because I can't. He's not a silver star, really, is it?
Right. Enough. Off. I've got lots of washing up. I have to throw up on the shelf and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go grow my beer belly.
Right. Yeah. Until next time.
And rip the head off a chicken.
Have you still got your bush there you can hide behind? There we are. Perfect. See you, Elton.
Bye, Clive. Bye, viewers.
Hope you enjoyed
for all your views on my fan channel.
Anytime, Elton.
Elton loves you.
Try then, Elt.
Bye.